Hello, I'm the Namekian, and welcome to part 6 of my Let's Play of Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. We are on the 6th chapter, a brief diversion. When last we left, our hero Ike and his band of mercenaries were forced to flee their home due to a Dayan attack. And so their really only choice of options was to more or less trust in Princess Elincia and head towards Gallia, the Beast Country. So on the way there, of course, the Dayan army is pursuing Ike and the mercenary company. So on the way to safety, the group divided into two groups, one being kind of like the diversionary tactics, while the other focuses more on getting to safety, or getting the princess to safety. But they were also discovered a bunch of Dayan soldiers on the way, and have chosen to take them on. This is kind of a fun map. There's a couple of ways you can take it. It is a bit more entertaining on the harder difficulty settings with some of the more tougher baddies. Basically, you have two ways down in the map. So it's another one of those maps where you're going to want to split your team into two groups. And then you have the fact that there's really no one set weapon set on either side. Like right here, you've got the bows and the spears on one side, and the other you have the heavy armored class and so forth. There's no real clear, hey, this guy's going to be the best here, this guy's going to be the best there type of scenario. Plus, you have the forest here, which really hinders movement of your characters, especially for the mounted units. They don't work so well in this terrain, so they can't really move very far. So I use the first few turns to get my folks in line. Your enemy won't start advancing or attacking until basically you clear the forest and they see you. I chose to split up the two teams, being Ike, Titania, and Soren, and Oscar, Boyd, and Reyes. Primarily for Oscar is probably the best unit outside of Titania and Soren to take on the armored foes. And there's a few sword folks there that Oscar would be somewhat of an advantage on. And I figured out of the two groups, they're going to be the ones who's going to probably want the healing. So, with everyone in place, I begin the attack. And again, there's no, even on the harder difficulty settings, there's really no one side better than the other. Or one group of folks better than the other. You see that there are bows and there's a bow and arrow unit on both sides. So some of your squishy characters would just need to watch out for that. But there's really there's no real clear advantage in what group you go with what. Now there's really nothing special in this map. The boss, it doesn't move. He doesn't really carry anything all that special outside of a spear, which is a ranged weapon. So there's really nothing. There's no really one unit that's going to be causing a whole lot of problems. Your task is to merely escape, so you don't have to worry about clearing everyone, but it's a good opportunity to get some XP, and there are some pretty semi-decent drops here or there. But as you can also see with all my units, that I'm getting kind of full on inventory space as well, so you know, I have to be careful on drops as they come. And on the harder difficulty, you're going that route with Oscar. That poleaxe does its advantage over mounted units, so you're gonna want to be careful not to engage them unless you're completely sure that you're not going to get off a critical hit, especially on the higher difficulty settings. As you can see there, Oscar's pretty much useless against those armored units. Can't really do much damage to them, and they can do a decent chunk of damage to him, so it'd be good to kind of avoid it. Since I knew I couldn't do much on this turn, just kind of making sure I protect my healer there and just staying put for a bit. Probably be doing a lot with that, with Void. That shove tactic is really quite helpful. Now, normally, only really fire and light are the major damagers for armored classes when they're against magic. However, Soren is such a powerful magic user that he kind of breaks that law a little bit. And here's another prime example of the medium versus hard difficulty settings when it comes to the AI. In the harder difficulty settings, the AI would have attacked Oscar with both those units because they would have probably killed him. Instead, in the medium setting, not only did they go after the archer went after Boyd, but the armor went back to get healed, which is a common thing that the enemies would do. Generally, if they can't kill a unit and they are damaged, and there's an enemy unit with some sort of healing close by or something like that, they will opt to heal themselves versus attack. Which it's sometimes predictable, sometimes not. And as you can see here, enemy healing units are pretty much completely immune to magic. They are susceptible to light magic a little bit, but all in all, you can't really damage them with magic. But they can't attack you either, so you know, they're not really that much of a threat. Later on, you can steal from them, which is very beneficial. But for these early maps, there's really not a whole lot they can do against you. They can obviously heal the enemy units, which does get annoying. But really, they only provide you with free XP for whatever unit you choose to kill them. Now I'm being a little cautious here, attacking those two units, knowing that the main boss has a spear, which is the ranged weapon. It's not anything overly special, but it can do some pretty decent damage at this level. So it's kind of vital to be careful when attacking his side units, because the side units won't attack you, won't move and attack you either. Boyd missing twice. Yeah, that's somewhat embarrassing. I guess it makes up for all his criticals that he had earlier. Go ahead and gave Titania the XP. And that's it for the enemies of the map. Now I will hold off clearing the map for several turns, and I will use Raise here to heal everyone up. I do this mainly because it is difficult for staff users to gain XP, since they can't really attack. They only gain XP if they're basically healing people, especially at this early on stage. And while you do have bonus XP you can assign them later, you know, you don't get a whole lot of that either, to kind of spread around. But the more important thing is leveling up his staff usage trait. Kind of like your normal units leveling up their weapons, or the swords, spears, or axes. They do have the weapon class usage that they need to level up so they can use better quality stuff. There are some items that you can use to level that, but you're gonna have a ton of need to use those later on. So, and that will do it for this map. A somewhat enjoyable map, you know, not as fun as the the previous map, but still it was okay. We're still technically in the tutorial section, so please join me again for part 7. Until next time, thanks for watching. God bless.